Let me catch. You ready?
Let me bone.
This is how let me play. Yo,
what's up, son?
What's up, kid? What's going on, kid?
Yo, man, I'm just doing my thing, man. Yo, 245 over here, bro. You know how we be working, man.
Cash moves everything around me. Cream get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job.
បាននំបងបណ្ដូលចិនអើយខ្ញុំសូមលាហើយលាទាំងអាឡាយតាំងពីខ្ញុំបានឃ្លាតទៅឆ្ងាយខ្វល់ខ្វាយនឹងស្ដាយពុំមាន
Cambodia. It's where my people are from. Most have never heard of it outside of a history book. Or if you're old school, you saw Angkor Wat in Tekken. From 1975 to 1994, around 150,000 refugees fled from Cambodia to the United States.
And I just remember them telling me how they left everything they known from their hometown of Battambang, and then they fled towards the border of Thailand. And once they got to the border of Thailand, they were staying in, I believe it was Kavarang, I think that's what's called, like the refugee camp. They stayed there for a little bit until I think they kind of got, I think it was something with the American government made an offer for them to come live in the Philippines, and I think they spent a bulk of their time in Thailand and the Philippines before they headed to the United States. I believe it was the mid 80s, and then my mom, she stayed in Long Beach, and my dad, he stayed in Wichita.
They came here escaping a brutal regime, the Khmer Rouge.
My dad and my mom's telling me how they, when they were escaping their home, walking across the country roads of Cambodia carrying all the little kids, all their young children, and they're having their uncles and my uncles, which is their siblings, following behind, and they were walking miles and miles and miles just to get away from that war-torn country, and that's why they ended up in so many refugee camps, because every refugee camp was a stepping stone towards America.
Wichita is one of many Cambodian resettlement communities in the United States. Most Cambodians that moved here ended up in Planeview, a neighborhood on the south side of Wichita. It wasn't exactly the best place for a kid to grow up at that time.
Small house, bunch of siblings and my parents, and I grew up, went to Calvin Elementary, which is a school in Planeview. Then I went to Jardine, 6th and 7th grade, and the only reason we ever moved out because at the time that we moved out, there was a huge Asian gang war, and we were next door to what happens. We had gunshots, landed on our vehicles, on our doors, and my parents was like, "That's enough. We're moving out."
My mother told me this about what my grandmother said. If I stay in Planeview, my kids are either going to end up dead, in jail, or in a gang.
The Bloods and the Crips were very strong then. I remember living on 3132 Davidson Street and hearing gunshots at night and having to get down on the ground. I watched a lot of people struggle and just, try to mooch off of each other. Just a lot of people trying to survive.
It was another traumatizing experience for the people leaving an already bad situation at home.
But did you still have post-traumatic stress?
Huh?
Your struggle today, I think, being your daughter and growing up around you is you deal with really bad post-traumatic stress.
No, I have post-traumatic stress. No, I don't have anything.
You have nightmares. You have nightmares. Sometimes you take a nap and you're screaming like you're still there.
Violence. They've seen suffering. They've seen struggle. They know what it is. They know what true struggle is, and they've seen their own family members get tortured, get killed. Their friends get tortured, get killed. Their fellow Cambodian, their fellow countrymen and women. I've seen my mom watching the killing fields, and she would literally tears would fall from her face while she's watching it. It's a reminder, cold reminder of where she came from.
Beyond all the vague details like people getting sick, dying, or getting killed, my generation barely know what's happening.
I don't know why, but I thought to myself, like, oh, maybe they just moved on from it because they never talked about it. I never knew about it until, like, you know, I asked my grandpa one time to tell us about, like, you know, the whole experience about what was like during communism and, like, everything. And he told me, this is the one time I'm ever going to talk about the story. You better not ask me ever again. And, you know, that's how you know it was very, very traumatic for him. And I didn't know I had an uncle until he told me. I was like, why did no one ever talk about this? And I learned that it was just so traumatizing.
I think they're willing to be open as much as I ask, you know? Like, if I don't ask anything, they're not gonna share too much about it. But if I ask them questions about it, they have probably no problem sharing about their experiences. I know my dad, he shared a lot of experiences, like, it's in general, not just like from Cambodia, but his life as a Cambodian American here. But yeah, for the most part, I don't think they would want to hide anything. It's just a matter of whether I ask them or not.
I know that when I was younger, I would try to have my dad speak about his past, and I know that he would just kind of brush it off and say, oh, you don't need to know, it's not that important.
So in school, for what I learned in school, when I was there, they didn't have a topic to talk about it. It's just something that they don't really have. They give us knowledge like, oh, what is it like in there? Like, what's the word or stuff like that. But in order to like to see perspective of the like leaders in there, we do not have that perspective for us. It's just this movie that you can watch, things like that, or documentary that they have. They wrote a book about it, but in order like at school, like a curriculum, they do not have it.
In an unfamiliar world, our grandparents raised our parents with tough love.
Don't cry. They kill your kid, they say, don't be cry. Because I'm not kill your son, I kill your enemy, you know. Your son is I'm not kill your son, I kill your enemy. They don't want the parent to be react, you know. No react. And if you react, they kill you too.
My mother always said she never heard "I love you" from her parents. My father never really had emotions. I know he went through more than what he would let on.
If I was my mom's age and I told my friends that, they would have like thought, you know, I was seriously ill. Like, there's something wrong with me. Like, we can't talk to you. We can't be associated with someone that's mentally drained. And that's even the situation at all. It's just like, you know, it's just always been a misconception, you know. It's like it's frowned upon to seek the proper help you need. So instead, I feel like a lot of them turn into substance abuse, alcoholism, and like gambling, because you think about it, this all kind of came from a point where, you know, one, they are ashamed to admit that they need help. Especially as a man, you know, it just sounds very wrong to say, I need help.
I remember being around alcohol and cigarettes a lot growing up.
Alcohol is just a part of Asian culture. Gambling is huge, of course. Every time you talk about gambling, you can tie it in with any Asian nationality.
I just thought, like, okay, it's normal for all of us to have like drunk, alcoholic relatives. When I talk to people and they're like, no, like, you know, like, I would say this is like how our family is, and this is like, you know, they go to church, they do this, they do that. And my uncle, you know, he would get called out at work for drinking a lot, and it was just crazy. I was like, oh, you don't have that? Like, you don't have an uncle that yells at you guys at Thanksgiving and like throws a turkey on the floor? Oh, okay.
I think I speak for a lot of Khmer kids growing up here that we watched our parents drink a lot. And, you know, I can't even begin to fathom how much our parents were at work.
I hate seeing my mom work so much, you know. Being my dad being retired right now, my mom's the only person bringing in money. So seeing her work so much just to provide for the family, it's pretty heartbreaking.
For kids like me, whose, you know, parents were always at work all the time, we struggled to connect with our parents. You know, we knew they loved us.
Cause I remember he was telling me, like, when I wanted to go walk the quick trip, just to be careful, like, white people would hit on Cambodians, like physically hit. And although he didn't like say it up front, it kind of told me like that's something he had to endure when he was like younger in America as a Cambodian American.
For people like Victoria, who grew up in the US, she barely scratched the surface of what her mother went through.
The place that I remember that I still have a nightmare until now, they have maybe 1,000 people, and they have only the gate, only some people that they walk. Look like your A, look like that one A. You walk, and they have only 5 people, and they tie it up, From 1,000 people, they put in the temple, I don't know where the temple right now, near frontier Vietnam too. The temple, they put 1,000 people in the temple, they close the door. Only 5 young men like you, they have a gun, the gun that they gun they slap hơi chim hồ màu binh ở đây nè.
They shot all the people?
No, kill all the people.
So blood was just flowing everywhere.
For them to flee that country, it was important they stuck together. Both of my grandfathers were founders of the Wichita Cambodian Buddhist Society on 31st and Clifton.
1992, I remember it was my dad was the forefathers, your grandpa, Tong Ang, Pok, and I can't think of the other one. It's just before him. But anyways, Pok, Tong, and my dad and your grandpa, which they've all passed away now, but they ended up starting a temple in 1992. It actually was in a house in Planeview, just a regular duplex house. It's actually where the red duplex on Dunham Street. They ended up just starting. They ended up, sponsoring a Cambodian monk from Cambodia, bringing them over because they felt the need to have a temple here because of the growth of the Cambodian community.
How have you seen it, kind of grow over the years?
Yes, I've seen it grow over the years. I remember as a kid, my house, the red duplex, it was on one side, my family was living in it, and the other side, it was a temple. The monks was living in it. So it started from there, and then they moved to a different house, which it wasn't a duplex. It was a single family home, right there on Clifton Street. They moved. They got the monks to there. It's a little bigger, a little more land, and then eventually they ended up raising enough money, as a nonprofit organization, and they ended up building they ended up buying a little plot of land just right down the street in Planeview, and building a building. It came from one small building and just a little small piece of land. Now the land is probably 4 times the size now. They got a building just for the monks to sleep in. They have a building for prayer, and they have a building just for events and activities.
Our families have come so far to stake a claim in America.
I have opportunity to go and get money for my family. I have education that I can go and pursue, whereas there I wouldn't have been able to.
They end up selling the donut shop, but as of right now, my mom currently works, they both work at Textron. So that's how they kind of just provide for our family.
Was it Daylight Donuts or?
No, it was
Alice, or
no, I remember it was called Prairie Donut. It was just such a ghetto donut shop, but I love it because it's just it was perfect. It was freshly baked donuts, broken English, server. It was sweet.
Family, I have a good job. I have a house. It's just I'm living the American life right now.
As I understood more about where I came from, I found solace. I started to forgive. I felt proud to be Cambodian.
When I go to at that time, I pretend to be uneducated people, I just act like I'm a dummy or something like that. That's why I'm still alive. My brother, he act like he dummy too. But at that time, when he he hungry. When the people don't put, you know, he only say one thing, that they took him to kill right away. 3 months before the war is over, my old brother, they took him to kill right away. They put his body near the mountain, you know, the mountain, and Phnom the mountain. And that's what I walk by myself. I walk from near frontier Vietnam by myself. When I go with my brother. When 3 months before the war is over, they took my brother to kill. Only one thing he say, why we have, you know, the rye and everything, why you don't want to eat rye? Only one word like that, you know. They call him to kill right away.
Those days are over, and we have the power to educate ourselves to make us better.
It's not like you don't have the same opportunity to do better, because you do, like just like anyone else in this country. It does not make any difference if you're Cambodian or you're American, whoever you are. Everyone has the opportunity to be better.
The American dream is still alive. The fight didn't stop at just getting to America. It still continues, and it is on my generation to do our forefathers proud.
These are the